I really want to talk more about boiling point, or xenus or whatever. And it's probably more like xenus or xenus or something like that. Most languages outside of English, the X is a KS sound. So it's probably more like xenus or xenus or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I would have to ask some Slavic some Cyrillic alphabet Slavic language speaker about it, but it's probably a X sound, right? Like actually, there's this Polish band, Suffering Mind. They have a song called essentially, pretty sure it's just called Xenophobia, but it's in Polish, and the way it's spelled out in Polish is with a KS. So it's like xenophobia or something like that. Polish is pretty interesting. It's like no other language sounds like that, if you ask me. I've had Europeans online tell me that Americans tell them that they think Polish sounds like Russian. And I mean, I personally don't hear that. Maybe it sounds stupid, but I mean, personally, I think Polish sounds more like French. But I think it's more the fact that, all those, more closely derived Latin languages sound like Latin or something, like Romanian. The Romanian staircase guy, his stuff that's actually in Romanian, dude, it ends up sounding like Latin, in my opinion. And there's so much Latin derivatives in English that just reading the stuff, it's like it feels like I understand it better than I probably do. There's probably a lot of false cognates or false friends or whatever. But I don't know. It popped out to me when I was watching different stuff on Boiling Point, or Xenus or Xenus, whatever. But it was like a Polish guy, and there's a part he's like jumping through the fucking forest or whatever, and I hear him say drzewo, or however they say it, drzewo. It's like DRZEWO or something like that. It's just weird how everything is like a confluence like that. Because I remember this one linguistics dork on YouTube. He does mostly English stuff, but he had, I think, visited a friend in Poland or like whatever the fuck it was. But he was talking about cognates between English and Polish, and apparently drzewo, meaning tree or whatever, is cognate with the English word tar. And tar is something you could make from a tree, but it kind of helps demonstrate the fact that two words being cognate does not mean they look similar, sound similar, or even mean the same thing. It just means they share a common origin. That's what etymology is about. And yeah, so that's pretty interesting. But the the level of technological prowess and in fucking Slavland or whatever is kind of nuts. And I've been thinking more about the kind of pure programming side of that, from fucking with that the painkiller DLL shit, like hex editing. Started making me think of different hobbyist OSs, or like I've fucked with like Commodore 64 emulators before and shit like that. And maybe I'll just have to do that myself. Is different features I want in Doom 3 or like whatever the fuck it is. I'll just have to learn how to program and put the shit in there myself. But Boiling Point, like, unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say about it right now because I played Painkiller 1,000 times. Well, probably more than that. But Boiling Point is, or Xenus or fucking whatever, is one of those games that I probably haven't played it in 10 years plus. And what's nice about it now is that apparently it's on Good Old Games. And I do have a box version of that game from way back in the day. However, I don't know where it is right this second, and I don't know, maybe I'm incorrect, maybe I don't actually have it anymore. Well, I was trying to find a download for it, and the problem is, even though it's on Good Old Games, the sites that will like re-upload Good Old Games have it re-uploaded to file sharing platforms that don't work with a download manager, and they usually also don't really like the idea of stuff like wget or curl. And because my connection is so spotty, like, I really need something that will let me auto resume the download if it disconnects. And most of these sites do that. They'll like prevent you from that. And I found a couple workable downloads for it. However, they're not the GOG version. It's like one of them says it's a RIP, the other one says it's a ROM. So already it's like, okay, I'm about to get a fucking Russian, virus or whatever. But the version of Condemned that I've been using for 10 plus years at this point, it's actually a repack or whatever the fuck it is. I don't remember the name of the scene group. But I mean, I'm pretty sure it's actually a Russian, like repack or something like that. I haven't fucked with them yet. Like, I'll, check their Shay sums and all that at some point. But I downloaded the first one through Mega. And when I went to download the second one, it told me that, my quota had ran out and wait for like 4 hours. Okay, well, first of all, why are you giving me a fucking quota? You're already limiting me to like 100 kilobytes a second or whatever, right? But either way, like I went to sleep and woke up, and then I'd been awake for several hours. And then I tried to download the other one. So I downloaded the RIP one, and I was like, actually, let me try downloading this ROM one as well, just to check it. Well, even though it had been the supposed amount of time, I tried to download it, the other one through the Mega link, and it fucking told me it again. And I was like, well, dude, I waited the amount you said before. So I was like, fuck it. They had a MediaFire link as well. But what I ended up finding out was I could, like with the MediaFire link, download it the way that I need to. So basically, I run a shell script that will automatically resume the download from like a part file. And normally I would use wget or like curl for this, but they've, for whatever reason, themselves not been working lately. And so I've actually been using YTDLP to do it. And it doesn't understand stuff other than video and audio formats that well. But all it really requires me is, after I download it, just renaming the file. So it's not a huge deal. But, it's actually part of the reason I've considered buying it, just buying it on GOG. And it reminds me of the issue I had, 15 plus years ago. So there's this like technical metal guitarist guy named Ron Jarzombek, and that's how he pronounces it. Like emphasis on the zom part of it. I guess like zombie or whatever. It's pretty cool. Like Ron Jarzombek. He had this album called Solitarily Speaking of Theoretical Confinement or whatever. And back in the day, when I was first looking for it, I could not find an encode of it that was either lossless or an MP3 encode that was gapless, because motherfuckers back then didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And if I had the FLAC version, I could do that myself. Well, I could not find anything. And like at a point in my life, I actually had a waffles.fm or whatever invite. And again, that was like 20 years ago. But it was so pissing me off, and I love that dude's music so much that I actually just said fucking and bought the CD from him. Right? I just ordered it on his fucking website and did the fucking rip myself. Of course, nowadays finding a gapless encode is easy. But it's sort of making me, in a weird way, like that with Boiling Point. It's like I haven't played it in so long, and I want to play it, but none of the free options are looking that, trustworthy or whatever. So I was like, fuck it, maybe I should just buy it. The problem is, I want to know, because, the Slavic tech wizards did a game that impressed the fuck out of me even when I was, 14 when it was new. Like, I'd already been a technical nerd for several years by that point. I'd already fucked with Half-Life 2's level editor, Doom 3, Delta Force Black Hawk Down. I had not just a technical knowledge to the point where I was already, like 14, getting paid to work on computers. But I had, like game design, understanding to at least some degree. But, like I'm not a programmer, never really have been. Maybe I should be, fucking become one. But I had enough understanding of how games work to just be totally fucking blown away by what Boiling Point was doing. And I would like to do more in-depth videos on it, but it's just been so long since I've played it. And, you know, if I could even find my old disc version, I'm trying to find, sorry to you guys that made the game, but I mean, I already paid for it once technically, right? But, if I had to, like, it would be one of those saying, like, I might actually buy that. My main thing is I just want to know if I bought the shit on GOG, is that money going to go to the dudes that made the game, or is it going to go to fucking Atari or whoever? Because they're the ones that released it in the States. And I don't know, it's annoying shit like that. I don't know why they change the names of stuff all the time, right? So, like, They're Alive. That it was like Russian game. I don't even remember what the name is in the original Russian release. But